Celebrated social scientist Brené Brown once wrote, "Of this I am actually certain," and those are bold words for a scientist. Any scientists here know this. "Of this I am actually certain. After collecting thousands of stories, I am willing to call this a fact. A deep sense of love and belonging is an irreducible human need from the moment we're born until the day we die." Yeah. When these needs aren't met, we don't function as we're meant to. Brown makes clear that it's not only that we cease to function well, we actually break. We fall apart. We numb. We ache. We hurt others. This is what broken people do. They hurt others. Theologian Henry Nouwen called these our blessed wounded wounders. If you are one of those people who like to ponder the meaning of life, I would say that if you call yourself a Unitarian-Universalist, then you're ponderers of the meaning of life. Likely. Here is a response to try on about that question. What is the meaning of life? We are put here on earth for a short while to reckon with our innate and great hunger to belong and to be loved. Maybe that's one that works for you today. Religion itself has always been an attempt to meet and understand this great hunger about belonging and being loved. The very meaning of the word religion comes from the Latin religare, meaning to bind or connect to others, to ourselves, to something more, to bind, like our mortar, so that something strong can be built. I am carrying a great sadness on my heart these days, and I know that you are all carrying it too. I am weeping with you as we witness so much cruelty and brutality in our world right now. My heart feels sickened by those who are gripped and motivated by hatred and violence, by the hollow aspiration of tyranny, and by the diseased thinking that leads a person to believe that some people are innately better and of more value than others. My heart is sick. I weep with you. And sometimes my sick, broken heart has me feeling hatred. You feel that way sometimes? Or those who are perpetuating these cruelties? But I have to be careful. And I want you to be really careful too with that hatred. We have to be careful when our righteous and responsible anger and outrage turns to hatred. I have to be careful because that hatred keeps me from what's really going on deep in my heart. which is a great grief. There's a difference. A great grief for humanity, and how quickly so many of us supplant this grief and longing with hatred. Beneath these evils that we are seeing playing out in our world, our religion, our Unitarian-Universalist religion instructs that deep and buried exist in those who perpetuate evils are starved, broken, longing, aching souls, longing for belonging, longing for love, looking for it in all the wrong ways and places. And that's a tough one, I know. We might say they are choosing to do something with their brokenness and pain that is terrible. And it frightens me. Maybe the collective rite of passage of this time is to finally concede that the souls of humanity are in a desperate way. That the way we do things isn't working anymore, and you know what? It never really worked. That maybe the great unifier really is our irreducible human need for belonging and love, and that this, that, and yes, sometimes this in between us is what happens when we don't get it. We break, we fall apart, we hurt others, we hurt ourselves. Maybe the call of this human epoch is to begin waking up to this truth and admitting it in some way, each of us, that we are a longing for belonging and love people, and that it makes us really fragile. But I don't want us to be afraid of being fragile anymore. I don't think it's going to get us to the promised land. I've been tossing a little bit this word around belonging, right? It is the title of this sermon, Taking the Risk of Belonging, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, what that risk means. But let's think about the word belonging. Have you ever felt it? True belonging? I'm going to attempt to describe it and see if this resonates for you. True belonging is felt to me like a great, body and soul exhale. A hot bath. All those hard places in the body and mind, it's like they soften and they slow. When I have felt true belonging with people, I have felt safe to speak the truth about who I am and what I need and what's really going on with me. For real. Beneath all the nonsense that has me girding myself and gritting my teeth and firing off emails and defending myself and blaming everybody and being hateful. I can be that. There's something beneath. Poet Arthur Miller calls it the place where spirit meets bone. I like that. The truth place. That's the longing place. The truth about us all. Longing people. And yes, the great lament of this time is that many of us have never felt this. Or it is unfamiliar to you. Or we think that belonging means trying to figure out how to fit in. Fitting in is not belonging, my friends. It's not. And I sense you know this. You will lose track of yourself when you get too practiced at the art of contortionism. You will. This is why I believe it takes a lifetime, at least under the conditions that we're living and the ways that we've been reared up. It takes a lifetime to heal and recover who we really are after all those years of shape-shifting and soul barricading and chameleoning. And tragically, I'm sorry to say, particularly as someone who has companioned a lot of people at the end of their life, many leave this life without finding their way home to themselves, their real selves. And I guess it could be said that this is all risky business then. Discovering, recovering our true selves, showing up in places and saying, here I am, as my undefended self, taking the risk of belonging feels like a reasonable way to describe what I am asking of you and myself. And I hate that that is so, that it feels risky. I hate that. But there you have it. Unitarian-Universalist minister Reverend Tess Balbinger wrote about this risk, taking the risk of belonging, and she put it in the context of a church community, a UU church community that maybe you will find is helpful. I did. She says, here in this circle of belonging where we take risks, we risk being disappointed or hurt, and we risk disappointing or hurting others. We risk being healed or fulfilled, and healing or acting in ways that fulfill others. We risk being betrayed, and we risk betraying others. We risk becoming trusted and trustworthy, and we risk trusting others. We risk being changed, challenged to grow. We risk calling others to change and grow. We risk becoming grown-ups. We risk helping others grow up. We risk giving of ourselves and letting others give to us. We risk making friends and losing them because people die or move away, or sometimes friendships end. And like any time we risk becoming close to others, we risk grief. That's always the risk of loving, my friends, of being in any relationship. Grief, total grief. I want to take these risks in my life and in the places that I am choosing to try to belong to. And I want you to take these risks and continue to take these risks as you've been taking them for a really long time. I believe this is the call of our time. It's a big one. To creatively imagine and build a new way. Draw the circle wide and wider still. And this means putting down our shields, putting down our weapons, going out beyond ideas of right and wrong, in or out, and to stop with the overplayed, tired out, cordoning off of heart and soul because it is breaking us. This church, our UU religion, place of binding and connection, it aspires to try for this something different and this new way, so that all can come here and practice being themselves, right? We've got a big old sign out on the lawn. Come as you are. So that they can bring wholeheartedness then to the world. And this doesn't mean arriving here in all our mess and forgetting about loving kindness with one another. We have to be responsible for ourselves. And it definitely doesn't mean arriving here and being explicitly or implicitly told to fit into what some others feel they need to belong. And I hope you hear that bit. It's really important. Many of us, we just can't help ourselves, particularly as predominantly white people, to want to make belonging look like one universal thing and feel like one universal thing. So many people have been harmed by churches, churches, communities, who can't seem to get out from under their particular narrow definitions of belonging. It is an alive thing. And it's not just them out there perpetuating power over from a place of brokenness. It does happen in each of us too. And we've got to get honest about that and share about it with one another. And plenty of people, maybe some of you are with us today, you are worrying if taking the risk to belong is something you can try for again after being so very hurt before. Please don't stop trying. Please, please don't stop trying. None of these terrible, terrible, harmful habits that we have as a people, none of these ways of doing or building community that have hurt people and hurt ourselves or asked us to slice and dice ourselves to fit, none of them have anything to do with authentic, true belonging. They have to do with fortifying the heart, not opening it, shrinking circles, not drawing them wide. And I hope you really get that. When you yourselves can wake up, and this takes interior work, and a devotion to oneself, and you know I preach about this all the time, about beginning here. When you begin to wake up to your own tender and particular multitudes, you begin to make room for the tender multitudes of others. And an indescribable exchange and dance of the multitudes begins to happen, and I know you felt it before here. And I believe this is where God, Spirit, mystery, otherwise known as love, lives. This is what belonging feels like, and let me tell you, it is powerful and it is contagious. A few weeks ago, one of you left a gift on my desk, a book with a lovely card tied with twine. It was such a kindness, these little acts of love and care. And I continue to be particularly moved at the wisdom teachings so many of you share with me about this stuff, what you're learning and learning about healing. We really are doing that together. We're doing that together. This book was called No One Left Alone, a story of how community helps us heal. And it's by Presbyterian minister Reverend Liz Walker. It's a book that tells the story of her ministry in Roxbury, not far from here, right? Serving a predominantly Black church and community defined by and contending with a steady and unspeakable stream of violence, gun violence, racism, systemic inequality ad infinitum, and who, in the face of it, found their way to a profound and healing wisdom about true belonging and the worthwhile risk of trying for it and of taking it. In that particular church community, they discovered this transformative and powerful healing through the simple, no-brainer act of coming together in person, sitting in a circle, and sharing their pain with each other. No discussions, no debates, no strategic plans, no fixes. Rather, she says, quote, the silent receiving of each other's hearts. This has created a movement called Can We Talk? And it's spreading to countless other communities. There are other ways to gather in these kinds of circles. Many are drawing from indigenous wisdom. Restorative justice bases itself on these circles of sharing and receiving each other's hearts. Reverend Walker says, I like to think of these gatherings as creating soft spaces and hard places. And she goes on to conclude that while political and economic solutions matter, true long-lasting healing is going to take collective soul-searching, vulnerability, and ordinary people coming together to process our suffering and grief. Sharing our full selves, our authentic selves, our wounded, longing selves with one another. She writes, it takes courage and it involves risks, being misunderstood, looking foolish, even being rejected. Yeah, but there are so many more rewards. For me, taking the risk of belonging is far worthier. This is a far worthier risk than the alternative, don't you think? It really is my life's most lucky blessing to get to devote my life and work to taking this risk for myself and with you, with community. Every week, no less. I get to be caught up in this gathering in of all your and our tenderness, your and my heartbreak, all of our great joys, our great sorrows, the vibrant multitudes of being and thought and feeling here in this circle as we try to carve a new way together, one that doesn't have a roadmap, but go with what's in here, my friends. Lead with your heartbreak. That's where we're going to start. That's what's kept this church alive for so many years, and I believe it is the future of it too. Let's listen to our poet's wisdom once again. Reverend Chad Snyder, be longing. To belong is to be longing for a space to be held, and that will hold friend, stranger, neighbor, other, for silences broken by songs of the silenced, for time that does not stretch but encircles. To belong is to be longing for wholeness of the beloved of all who belong and are longing. I hope that we can all do what we can in the best way we can with the tendernesses that we carry, to keep trying to take these blessed risks together, to welcome them in, to ask each other how you take them. to admit once and for all that we are a people of longing, all of us. And that this doesn't make us weak or breakable. It makes us strong and it makes us powerful. And to that I say amen. And blessed be my good friends.